Welcome back to Wake Up Epic. We're exploring leadership in a really big way, and specifically this energy of synergy. So the 45th hexagram, from a Gene Keys perspective, is the shadow of dominance and the gift of synergy. So think about that for just a moment. Where, as you're trying to do something in the world, you're trying to listen to your true self or authentic self or your soul or your creative impulse, what is it you're listening to? And are you dominating it? Are you using it to dominate other ideas? Where is dominance getting in the way of more of a synergistic sense of flow with what you're doing, what you're contributing? That's what we're going to unpack, unravel, and move through today. Now, in the human design perspective, it says this is the gate of the gatherer or gathering energy. And it's about control. It's about control of things and allowing others to use those things for a price. And the price we can imagine is money, but it could also just be someone's investing their time, their energy. Something I wrote about recently was in taking back our power, we need to be around with people who get us and in a certain way are willing to pay us. And so if we're wanting attention, approval, if we're giving our contribution, there's some sense of the other is paying us, even if it's just their time, their energy. And so I want to look at this fundamental synergy. Now, the hexagram is made up of a top trigram and a bottom trigram, and that's how we're constructing the movements so we can work with it. The top trigram is yang, yang, yin, which suggests we're moving forward into the world, or we're in a world where we're with others. And try this with me. So we're with others. We're active, we're up, not down and sensing and relaxed and passive, but up and active. And then we're narrow. So we've got forward, up, narrow. Now I'm doing this with my body. We want to do this with our attention as well. So in contrast, be peripheral, let your eyes sort of take in the room and then focus on something in front of you. And relax the focus, get peripheral again, and then choose the focus again. So everything we do with our body, we can get more subtle with and use just our attention, which really, really helps when we're in a meeting or we're just wanting a mindset shift and we're writing or doing something creative. So we've got this forward, up, narrow, which in UZAZU is channel. So we are in a space of channeling or contributing, or ideally being purposeful about what we're doing. That's the context. So ideally here in the 45, we're choosing to be in a world that is contribution, a world that is purposeful, a context that is purposeful. So then what are we choosing as an individual in this situation? The bottom trigram is yin, 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 back. This is more about self. Down, this is more about sensing, receiving, listening. And in or narrow, so being in the situation. Both of these trigrams are narrow. Both of these are saying, hey, we're in it. And then the dance of this is, I'm choosing, you're choosing to touch your inner experience. And that can look like slowing things down. That can look like meditating. That could look like doing sponge for a few moments. So in UZAZU, we call this sponge, and it's purely about our inner experience. We let the world go, and the choice is, what's happening in here? What's this really, this moment? I've been listening to The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. So sponge is when we are untethered, when we're more in touch with the inner experience and not so clingy or attached to our contracts, agreements, obligations, or sense of self even. So this is the bottom trigram. And from having touched our inner experience, where are we going? Well, channel. We're going to contribution. And so the embodied story is in this grand commitment and worldview of purposeful contribution, I am choosing inner experience, sensations, emotions, feelings, intuitions. And from that, I'm bringing that forward as a contribution, or I'm therefore choosing my direction. So that's the fundamental embodied story. So then what the heck is it to control things and allow others to have them for a price, whether it's physical, emotional, or mental? What is synergy? What is dominance? So dominance is going to arise out of the I have to or that I can't. So the blocked or the excessive versions of these moves. So let's feel them. In a world where I have to make a contribution, or I have to feel what I'm truly feeling, we're dominating instead of allowing. So think about rushing, like trying to rush the answer, rush the clarity, rush the sole purpose. Something's trying to emerge through you and you're trying to answer that call, but it's like, I have to answer the call instead of I'm allowing myself to answer the call. And what does the can't feel like? Try, I can't figure it out, or I can't make that contribution. And where that's been showing up in your life, or it's a pattern. Or go into your own inner experience with a sense of I can't, which could be a sense of numbness or fear. What shows up for you in the sense of I can't touch this inner experience? So how many of us have had bosses or colleagues who are working too hard and they don't slow down to do self-care? Or they're pushing for a deal or to make something happen, but we know there's something not quite right. It's like, it's not really going to be fulfilling. That's not really what you want. There's some sort of misalignment between this person's deep inner truth and what they're doing as an organization or as an individual. So let's step into and nurture this sense of synergy. We'll do 5 rounds of this practice. And for 4 of those rounds, I'll drop in a possibility statement. All these possibility statements, they come from UZAZU, and they are literally the articulation of these 2 energies. They're all versions of providing significant benefit to others in a way that is mutually enriching. So the enriching speaks to the inner experience of this. Like, why are we doing this? Because it's enriching. And we have the profit, in a sense, of that we're going to feel good. And we're committed to significant benefit. So if I wait and am patient enough at the dinner table and you say, hey, can you pass me the thing? And you're coming from, that's the thing I want that over there. And it's mutually beneficial to request it and to receive it. And it's a joy for me to give it. We're really playing with this, almost like this thoughtless synergy of I'm here for you and you're here for me. And what do you need? And that's a joy. That's where we're aiming for. Well, you drop these possibility statements in as we go. So how do we do it? You'll be moving through channel and sponge, going slow enough that if you feel a glitch or an emotion, you can slow things down and be with it. And otherwise, just keep the flow going between these movements. And out of that will arise thoughts, feelings, insights, and other change. Here we go. So shift forward, up, and narrow with channel. And shift back down and narrow in sponge. Come back forward to channel. And we'll keep repeating that. The first statement, I can take pleasure in the work I do for others, which inspires me to do more. I can take pleasure in the work I do for others, which inspires me to do more. Allow yourself to be moved by something other than just your mind, like when to move, how fast to move. Second statement, repeat and change the words a little bit if you like. I can experience deep fulfillment in the things I do for and with others. I can experience deep fulfillment in the things I do with and for others. With that thought in the background, the way your body shows up with the movements is exactly the medicine you need. So move slowly, feel fully. The third activation is I can be passionately engaged in fulfilling my roles and responsibilities. I can be passionately engaged in fulfilling my roles and responsibilities. With all these statements, they can also trigger the opposite, and where there's a can't or a must. So anything you feel about that, it'll show up as you go through these movements as a resistance or a shift in the way you want to move. In our fourth activation, I can provide value to others in a way that's mutually beneficial. I can provide value to others in a way that is mutually beneficial. For the fifth round, this is your round to expand more, to play with the challenge, to go with the flow. My invitation is to hold both of these at the same time as you do whatever you want to work with, which is to say, have one hand sponging and the other arm channeling, which helps us anchor both at the same time and find out what is there in when these are both available at the same time. I can contribute while being enriched. And it doesn't have to be static. It can have its own life. Take a moment to gather, what's your sense of what you're receiving? Has something changed? Have you made a choice? Are you taking away something? So notice what's the outcome for you here. Gently let the movements go. And step back into being the human you. Having shifted something, look around the room. Give yourself a sense of being here now as you having done something. And you're bringing something back from that experience to the world and to your life. So get a sense for what that is in a way that you can share it, speak it, write it. And we'll take a minute to share what's the gem. Or multiple gems or insights about yourself. So for example, for me, one of the biggest surprises was this desire to turn away a couple times. And it so fit the pattern of a story that I've held for a long time that is probably a little bit of both how I work in a magical sense, but also it's felt like a limitation, which is sometimes it's hard to be direct. And some of the joy and the magic is hey, going on this wandering journey, and then poof, this thing that I really wanted shows up. I actually added this to a book I published. It's a quote by Douglas Adams in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and it says, "There's an art or a knack to flying. The knack lies in learning how to throw yourself at the ground and miss. Pick a nice day and try it." And so there's this sense of you achieve what you really want in a purposeful accident. And I remember Ken Wilber talking about, we don't evolve or achieve enlightenment on purpose, but we do the practice, which sets us up for a happy accident. So that's one of my takeaways.
What I found interesting for me, Alex, during this practice was that I wanted to stay inside, and it was hard to go to the up and outward. But in real life, I'm often up and outward and serving and giving. So as we were going through each number one after the other, I was trying to see where was the resistance. Was it that I do that a lot in real life, and so I'm enjoying the space, or is it that I have been pushing too hard and I don't want to? And what came up for me at right now to work on was that it's okay to be not the sacrificer, that I can enjoy the process, that I can be mutually beneficial for myself when I'm serving others, that it's not just about giving only. And so I think that's why I enjoy the receiving mode of the inner and holding down, where usually I'm always only up and not going inward. And so what I appreciated from this was that, and the peaceful feeling, and then allowing each of those statements to sink into another level of my subconscious, that I can be contributing and be fulfilled by that at the same time.
Awesome. Hearing that, it's just like a big door just opens. That's great. Thank you. So thanks for waking up Epic today. Part of me really wants to just go deeper into these energies. They're so rich. And I think for people who are creative, who are service-oriented, heart-oriented, and we have to keep sacrificing one of these for the other. It's like work or life. This is such a work-life balance kind of a question. How do we solve the work-life balance problem is what comes up for me. And like synergy, so we were looking for the synergy, and my contribution and your contribution makes us feel good just for the sake of it, let alone the benefit and the impact and the money and the building and the houses and everything else. So yeah, there's something very, very rich about this. So enjoy the practice. My biggest suggestion is make it simple, let it be simple. And just like you'd water a garden and you just go water that garden, and you know that sometimes fruit comes up and sometimes fruit doesn't come up, or the flower. Play with the channel, play with a sponge, spend as much time as you want in either one, ultimately aiming for what's your unique synthesis of this. Because it's not about getting the right answer, it's about letting this inform you and inspire you in the way that you uniquely work and show up. So thanks for being Epic, and I'll see you in the next experience.